financial model is easily the most important tool for any organization. It shows you not only where you've been, but where you're going and which assumptions you can tweak to get to whatever feature you want. And after building hundreds of financial models in my career and training hundreds of people across the globe, in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 most important tabs to any financial model. Because if you're missing these 3 tabs, you could leave some serious vulnerabilities in your financial model. So let's get started. And if you want to grab a copy of this template, you can check the first link in the description entirely for free. Now, the first tab that we're going to cover, to me, is the most important, and it's also oftentimes the most misunderstood. I've seen a lot of people make their models unnecessarily complicated because they don't focus on this one tab. And the best way to explain what this tab does and why it's so important is actually how it was taught to me from my manager. So when I started my career in FP&A, my manager told me that she was trained under a really impressive guy who had been the CFO for multiple companies. And he noticed that her financial model had assumptions in a lot of different places in the model, which made it really difficult to understand where all the assumptions lie and how to update them. So he suggested that instead she concentrate all those assumptions in the drivers tab as much as possible. And that's what you see here. Now, you may hear the term assumptions tab, or sometimes I even see the tab named model, but they all represent the same thing. We have every account across my profit and loss and across my balance sheet. And it's also common to, let's say, create some assumption cells that then get linked on this tab, so that again, all the changes can reside in this one place and everything else will update. But it's a little bit more than that. Notice how my financial model has a combination of actuals and projections. Now, that's actually really important because a lot of times the readers of your financial model, whether that be management, the board of directors, or investors, they're not only going to want to see where the company is going, but more importantly, where the company has been and how you're blending in the gap between both. So you can see in this case, I have a table called PBC profit and loss, and it's pulling in all the historical balances for each account and for each period. Now, this is what that table looks like. It's pretty much a standard profit and loss, only I unpivoted it. A lot of times I see people just pointing directly to a profit and loss statement, which can also work, but I find this to be a lot more dynamic. So on the one hand, I have all the historical values, and then for the projections, it's actually really easy to update. I'm going to expand this over here and notice that I now have a driver column. This tells the readers of my financial model how exactly I'm forecasting this account. So for this line item, I have an annual assumption for $120,000. And you can see that every single period shows that $10,000 amount. For this line item, I'm just taking a 6-month average with a 5% buffer. Now, originally, I would just type in the value here and then update the formula there. But once a client told me, hey, Josh, can't you just make this dynamic so that whatever value I put in the drivers column automatically updates all the assumptions? So that's what I did. You can see that this is really just a dropdown for any of the values that I want. So if I change this instead to, let's say, a quarterly assumption, you'll see that all of my values just updated, and I can change this over here to, let's say, 30,000, and everything updates. Or in this case, instead of a 6-month average, I can say, give me the value from the prior year, and I'll delete the buffer. So now November's balance equals the prior year's balance. Now, it's not always feasible to have all of your assumptions lie in this drivers tab, because sometimes you'll have schedules that are so big that you can't fit them all in this one place. And a perfect example is your headcount tab. So you can see all the details that I have for my headcount. And while this sits on a separate tab, the concept is still the same. I'm bringing that information into my drivers tab via a simple sum ifs. So although I may have other tabs that have bigger schedules, all the information still needs to come into my drivers tab. And that's a huge part in a proper schema with the financial model. This one tab spreads to all of my dashboards, making it really easy to control my assumptions. So here's a KPI dashboard. Here's a summary of my 3 financial statements. Even these detailed financial statements pull directly from my drivers via one consistent formula, blending in my actuals and my projections. And by the way, getting your data in this drivers tab, setting up all the formulas, doing all the formatting, that's really tedious. It used to take me about 20 hours just to kickstart a financial model. And that was from starting with a template, which is the whole reason why I created Model Wiz. It's an Excel add-in that lives right in your Excel ribbon and connects directly to your accounting software. With one button, it'll create an entire financial model. You can attach any beautiful schedule, you could forecast any account, and when you're done, you could print it to PDF. Now, just for context, I've spent the last 6.5 years building this tool, and it's literally all that I think about. And I want you to see it for yourself. You can try it entirely for free on our website, modelwiz.com. All right, now back to the video. And speaking of financial statements, on this balance sheet over here, do you notice anything weird about it? Probably not, right? Well, what if I told you that there was a really serious mistake with this balance sheet? Well, let me show you. If I just take total liabilities and owner's equity and subtract out my assets, looks like it doesn't. We have a $2.2 million difference. Now, I just want to give you some context as to how serious this mistake is. Sure, it probably won't be a matter of life and death, but it could mean life and death in terms of credibility of your financial model. If an investor was reviewing this financial model and saw that assets doesn't equals liabilities and owner's equity, or if the board of directors noticed this, they're gonna say, hey, whoever put together this financial model needs to be fired. Because if assets don't equal liabilities plus owner's equity, why should I trust anything else in this financial model? And think about it. How exactly would you have known that there was an error in this financial model? Look at all of these different tabs. How are you going to know whenever there's an error? We're talking thousands, no, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of data points that make it just impossible to detect if there's an error. Well, that's what brings me to the second most important tab, the error check. Now, the purpose of this tab is really simple. It's to take a look at all these different ranges across all these different tabs and determine whether there's an error or not. And if I just flip this switch from off to on and go back to my balance sheet, you'll notice that now in cell A3, I have this scary message saying I have an error. That should prompt me to look at my error check tab. And this note says, hey, I have 2 mistakes here. Check the bottom of the balance sheet. And if I check the bottom of the balance sheet, you can see my owner's equity is off by 2.2 million, causing my accounting equation to be off by 2.2 million. Now, the actual reason for that is because this over here got overwritten somehow. So if I just copy and paste this, now you'll notice that my model is back to functioning properly. Now, you may be thinking, okay, great, assets always need to equal liabilities and owner's equity. What do all these other checks represent? Well, think of it this way. When you're working in finance and accounting, especially in financial modeling, you're oftentimes moving data from one place to another. You're manipulating that data, you're making it reappear in a different location. I like to think of the analogy of a school bus. When kids get on a school bus, you'll want to read the attendance list for every single kid that gets on that school bus. You then drive to the field trip, and when you get there, when the kids come off, you again do a roll call. If any kids are missing, you're in trouble. And it's really the same process with your financial model. Whenever you bring data from one location to another, you need to make sure that that data matches. We accountants call that foots. So for example, you may bring in each and every single historical value for each and every single account on your income statement in your drivers tab. You'll do the same thing for your balance sheet. This over here now is a subtotal. I'm taking the total of that information. So now I'm comparing, did all the information from where I pulled this from sum up to the totals from that source? So check out what this error check is doing. It's analyzing all the values over here, and it's pulling in whichever values are in my revenue section. It's then comparing it to that source table over here for where exactly it came from. If the information matches, great. You'll see just a dash because there's a 0. But watch what happens when I come over here, and instead of this being a formula to pull from that source, I accidentally override it to 50,000. Well, once again, I now have that error. And when I go to the error check tab, you can see that I have one error in my drivers tab. And when I scroll to the bottom, I can see specifically that my revenue is misaligned. And when I undo it, my model is back to functioning properly. So remember, anytime you're taking information from one location to another, you need to make sure, just like the kids on the bus, that all the information made it over properly. So far we spoke about the importance of a driver's tab, keeping all of your assumptions consolidated in one place. We also spoke about the importance of an error check tab, and how it should scour the entire model to detect any errors or misalignments in data going from one place to another. Notice a few other things about my drivers tab. So we have over here values in green, we have values in blue, and values in black. I also have a bunch of tabs over here that can be a little bit tricky to understand. Now, you may think, hey, I designed these tabs, so I'll remember them. But what happens when you send it to an investor and an analyst on their team wants to get familiar with it? Or what happens when you outgrow your role from an analyst and now need to pass on this model to someone else so you can do different work? That's what brings me to my third crucial tab in a financial model, an instructions tab. So in this case, I'm showcasing my color scheme where items in blue can be edited. Items in green mean that they're just references pulling from another tab. The red items, like we saw before, are error checks. And then black items are calculations. But It goes even further than that. I could understand each and every single tab over here and what its purpose is. Can I edit the tab? What exactly can I do with the tab? And if need be, I can even click this link over here to be taken to a video instruction of how exactly this tab works and how to use it. Now, I can't underscore this enough. 9 times out of 10, you aren't going to be the only one in your financial model. Other people in your team are going to want to play around with the assumptions. Your board of directors are going to want to understand different growth scenarios. Investors are going to want to understand whether or not it's a good investment. And the more convoluted your file, the more spread out your assumptions, and the less documentation there is on how exactly your file works, the more questions that will arise, the longer the review process will take, and the less confidence will exist that this model is both accurate and credible. Now, what I like about this tab is it's also like a table of contents where I could just click and be taken directly to that tab via a simple hyperlink. And if you're inheriting a financial model, you'll appreciate instructions like this. And this instructions tab may also include how to update it with actuals or anything else that you want the readers of your financial model to understand. And while these 3 tabs are really valuable for any financial model, there are a lot of other valuable tabs, like a revenue tab, a tab for analyzing your CapEx, or your accounts payable, accounts receivable, or maybe when it's time to actualize, you'll then want to compare your budget versus actuals. And if you want a full walkthrough of this financial modeling template, you can check out this video right over here. I'm Josh, your CFO guy, and I'll catch you in the next one.